What's going on, gardeners? It is Saturday, August 20th, and I'm not in some tropical destination. I'm coming from you right from my backyard, just outside of Wilmington, North Carolina. And on today's video, I'm going to show you 4 tips to grow the most beautiful banana plants you have ever seen. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell to receive new video notifications, and check out our Amazon storefront and spread shop in the video description for a list of the gardening products I use and awesome custom designed apparel and other gear. Your support is greatly appreciated. It's a common misconception that you need to live in a tropical climate in order to grow banana plants. Here in Zone 8A, I have successfully grown bananas in ground and fruited them and harvested the fruits 3 years in a row using basic cold protection techniques, and I'll make sure to link to those videos above so you can see exactly how I protect them and how I've been successful in Zone 8A growing bananas for food. Now, that being said, you still do need mild winters in order to successfully fruit them if you're growing them in ground. However, you do not need mild winters if you want to grow them as ornamentals. In fact, you can grow the variety Musa Bajou all the way down to Zone 5A. It will survive down to 20 degrees Fahrenheit below zero. So they will grow in very cold climates. They will simply die to the ground, and then they will come back up once the frost and freezes stop in the spring, and they will grow to be up to 15 feet tall in one single season. So if you'd love to grow beautiful tropical looking bananas in very cold climates, make sure you pay attention to these 4 tips. Another thing to keep in mind is that all of the varieties of bananas that I'm growing in my yard are dwarf varieties. Yes, this variety of banana right here is a dwarf variety. It is called Dwarf Orinoco. Full-size bananas can grow to be 10 to 15 feet tall, even in climates where they die back all the way to the ground and come back to the summer. If you grow full-size bananas in tropical climates that never see frost or freeze, full-size bananas can grow to be 20 feet tall or larger. So make sure you take these sizes into account when you are selecting varieties. I select all dwarf varieties on purpose because they're easier for me to protect during the wintertime. And the first and most important tip to growing the most beautiful banana plants you have ever seen is to feed the bananas themselves as often as possible. Now, what do I mean by that? Often called banana trees, the banana tree is not a tree at all. It is actually a corm, which is an underground storage tuber, and from those corms grow herbaceous pseudostems. So every one of these individual stalks, they are actually an herbaceous pseudostem, and they grow up from the corm until they flower and fruit. And then once they fruit with a big bunch of bananas, they then die back. And of course, if you live in a climate like I do that sees frost and freeze every year, and that frost and freeze kills them down to the ground, you will then wind up with all of these additional pseudostems that are basically died back, and you'll have to chop them down. So regardless if each pseudostem is killed because of natural dieback or due to frost and freeze, it is very important that you cut down those pseudostems and you chop them up into pieces, and you chop up the stems and the leaves and you drop them all underneath the plants. Everything that you see for the most part here, they're actually chopped up pseudostems and leaves around my banana, because these bananas are excruciatingly heavy feeders. They're one of the heaviest feeders in all of nature because, as I said, they can grow from total dieback to 15 feet tall in a single season. So each of these pseudostems are loaded up with nutrients. Now, I've showed you how to do this before. What you basically want to do is you want to cut down each individual pseudostem and then chop the pseudostems up into logs that are somewhere between 1 or 2 feet long. Then you want to split them in half. And the reason why you want to split them in half is they will decompose much more quickly and easily when you cut them in half. If you just break them up into cylindrical logs, they will take forever to break down. That's not what you want. You want them to break down rapidly. So always make sure that you save the pseudostems, whether they're killed by frost and freeze or whether it's natural dieback from the fruiting cycle. Always make sure that you chop and drop the remnants of the pseudostems around all of your plants. This is the greatest thing you can do to feed your banana plants, and it's the #1 thing you can do to keep them healthy and growing great. The second tip I'm going to give you to grow the most beautiful banana plants you've ever seen is to constantly maintain a thick, layer of compost and mulch around the base of your banana plants at all times. Now, I know I just told you that it's very important that you chop and drop the leaves and the stems of the banana plants when they die back for whatever reason, but that probably is not enough organic matter in order to maintain them for them to truly thrive. Now, remember, bananas are naturally understory plants that grow mostly along creek beds and stream beds in the rainforest or the jungle. So they are constantly being inundated with falling and dropping organic matter. Just think of what a living, constantly growing jungle or rainforest floor looks like. It's full of organic matter. So in addition to everything that I have chopped and dropped from the banana itself along the bottom, I also have this very thick layer of straw, and under that, this very thick layer of compost as well. This whole raised press board that I have right here, it's about 4 inches deep. It is nothing but compost and mulch. So I have easily 4 inches of compost and mulch around this banana plant itself, plus several inches of organic matter chopped and dropped from the banana itself. You want to do your best to simulate that rainforest floor, that jungle floor. So the more organic matter you can lay around the base of your bananas, the better they're going to grow, and you want to maintain it at all times. And for those of you in very cold climates that want to grow super cold hardy varieties of bananas as ornamentals, those compost and mulch layers are just as important for you, because that is what actually insulates the corm and protects it against cold damage. So the thicker you can mulch them during the winter months, the better chance that your corm will survive the cold weather. The third tip to grow the most beautiful banana plants you have ever seen is to pee on them. Yes, you heard me correctly. The best thing that you can feed a banana plant is itself, but the second best thing that you can feed a banana plant is human urine. That is because they are absolutely voracious feeders, constantly searching for nitrogen, and human urine is a rich source of nitrogen. Your banana plants love it when you pee on them. Now, I'm a realist, and I understand that peeing on your banana plants is not in the cards for everyone. Maybe your banana plants are out in your front yard, or they're not in a protected private location, or maybe you're just not a guy. And if that's the case and you can't pee on them, then you can try using blood meal. Blood meal is an excellent organic source of nitrogen. It's fantastic for banana plants, and I have this blood meal product linked in my Amazon storefront in the video description under the fertilizer section, so you'll be able to get yourself some blood meal if urine is not in the cards. However, if you are a guy, or you know a guy, or live with a guy, and you have access to human urine and you are in a protected location like a backyard with a perimeter fence, pee on your banana trees. They will absolutely love you for it, and it will help send them into overdrive. Just trust me on this one. And the fourth tip to grow the most beautiful banana plants you have ever grown is to heavily feed them with synthesized potash crystals. Bananas go crazy for refined potash. They make them grow into hyperdrive. They accelerate the fruiting cycle. For whatever reason, they are potash nuts. And my favorite product to use is actually this muriate of potash product right here. It has an NPK of 0,060, so it is extremely strong, and I have it linked down below in my Amazon storefront in the video description under soluble fertilizers. This is my secret weapon for growing bananas and getting them to fruit in zone 8A. Now, if you live in a tropical climate, or you live in a climate that very rarely sees frost or freeze, and your bananas do not die back in the winter, you do not need to use this product. You also don't necessarily need to use this product if you're just growing them as ornamentals, because they will grow pretty well on their own, although they will grow a lot more rapidly if you give them this product and you feed them, even if you're growing ornamentals. The reason why I have to use this product in zone 8A is because most of my bananas, about 90% of them, even when protecting them, will die back during the winter. So in order to flower and fruit the banana, I need to push these bananas as hard as possible and I need to use these synthesized soluble fertilizers in order to do that. And this 0060 will greatly accelerate the growth rate of your bananas and dramatically enhance the chances of them flowering and fruiting for you in marginal climates like my Zone 8 climate, or if you live in Zone 9 and you struggle getting them to fruit in your growing season. So that's why I have to use this product if I want to successfully fruit these bananas. If I just let them do their own thing, I more than likely will not be able to get fruit off of them. This product makes fruiting in shorter season climates possible. Now I will show you how to use it. The soluble fertilizer mix that I'm going to use to feed my bananas that works very well is I'm going to use this Jack's 20-20-20 soluble fertilizer product that I have linked in my Amazon storefront under soluble fertilizers. I'm going to mix that at a rate of 1 tablespoon per gallon into a 5-gallon paint bucket. Now this 5-gallon paint bucket will be filled to about 4.5 gallons because I can't fill it totally up to the top, and I'm going to use one of these 1.5 tablespoon Miracle-Gro scoopers in order to measure everything out. So I'm going to mix 1 tablespoon per gallon, which will be 3 of these, or 4.5 tablespoons into 4.5 gallons of water. And then I'm going to use this 0060 potash product. So I'm going to take about 1 level scoop of this, which is 1.5 tablespoons, and I'm going to drop this into the bucket. And that is going to greatly supercharge the potash content of this mix. Then I'm going to turn my rain barrel on and I'm going to stir everything together. And I want to apply this about once every 4 to 6 weeks as soon as the frosts and freezes stop, and I want to push my bananas hard at that 4 to 6 week schedule. Then each of these individual bananas will get half of this bucket. So that equates to about 2.25 gallons per individual banana plant. And as I said, we're simply going to repeat that fertilizing process every 4 to 6 weeks or so. Now, if you'd like to know which varieties of bananas that I'm growing that have been the most successful for me in my shorter season Zone 8A climate, the one that has been successful for me every single year for 3 years in a row has been Dwarf Orinoco, which I have growing in the rear of my property and in my front yard. My front yard Dwarf Orinoco plant has fruited for me 3 years in a row, as I said. Then the other ones I'm growing are Dwarf Brazilian, which is all the way on the edge here, Vente Cohol, and both of these two right here are Dwarf Namwa. None of these have fruited for me yet, however, they are all younger plants. The Vente Cohol is supposed to be the shortest cycle known banana, so if you need somewhere to start, I suggest you look at Dwarf Orinoco first with Vente Cohol a quick second, and then the other two are good ones that you can look into if you want to have the best chance of growing bananas for fruit in shorter season climates. And that right there is how you can grow the most beautiful banana plants you have ever seen. So for those of you that are growing bananas currently in warmer climates and you're looking to up your game and grow even more beautiful plants, consider employing these tips. And for those of you in colder climates that didn't know that you could grow bananas as ornamentals and you're now interested in growing them, check out the varieties Musa Bajou and Mekong Giant. They are both very cold hardy and can grow to be 12 to 15 feet or larger in a single season from total dieback. So everybody, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it helpful, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you're notified when we release more videos like these. If you're curious about any of the products that I used in this video or that I use for real in my garden in general, they are all linked down in the Amazon storefront link in the video description. So check out my Amazon storefront for what I use in real life. While you're there, check out my Spreadshop link for custom merch if you want to support the channel. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see all of you again on the next video. Hey Dale, what are you looking at? You want a beer over there? You don't look like an IPA guy. You look more like a wheat beer kind of guy. Hey Dale, you want to go for a walk? Oh, that's what he wants. Come on, let's go for a walk. Let's go for a walk. Come on, buds. Let's go get your stuff. We're going to go for a walk. Oh, we're going to have ourselves one happy Dale. That's one happy, excited Dale. That is one long wagging tail and a happy Dale.